It's the highest grossing sporting event in the arena's history. The we did 4 performance of the nights instead of a fight, no fight of the night. We did Tom Breeze, Stewart, Silva, and Allen. Those guys all got $50,000, so congratulations to them. Who's got the first question? What's up, buddy?
Not much. Was that a tough call on the bonuses? First of all, that Amir Khan night fight was pretty entertaining as well.
Yeah, I agree. It always sucks. It's never fun doing the bonuses.
Let's talk about the main event. Internet's blowing up right now. Everybody's debating, how'd you have it scored?
My phone's blowing up. Everybody's texting me. Robbery, Till won, this and that. So it's one of after the fight, they all looked at me and said, "Who do you think won?" I said, "I have no idea." Every round was so close. When you have rounds that are so close, you almost sort of lose track of scoring and trying to figure out who won. It was a tough fight to score.
Daren Till seems like a star in the making. I mean, undefeated. He's got kind of that X factor. Obviously, it was great in Liverpool this week, but the weight issue certainly a big issue. So, give me an idea.
It's only happened one time.
Right,
it happened one time, and he has an excuse for it. But I'll let him tell you why it happened and what went on. I don't think it's my place to talk about it. So I'll let him tell you when he comes in.
Okay, so that would be my question, because obviously he looks in line for a big fight. He wants big names. You do feel comfortable with him that, hey, he can make welterweight, and we can use this kid?
I do.
Hey, Dane, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Very well, thank you. What about, he's been talking about wanting to bring a stadium fight to the UK. He's obviously got a lot of heat behind him. He's a tremendous young man. But there's a history of our best fighters going over to Vegas, going over to America.
He's going to Vegas next, buddy. I hate to break your heart, but he's going to Vegas next. Yeah, I don't know when or where when or who he'll fight, but probably bring him to Vegas next.
So it's not a title fight next. He hasn't earned that yet.
I don't know. We'll see. Right? I don't make fights the night of the fights. So off the top of my head, I have nothing for you.
Do you have the feeling that it's going to be a groundswell of Brits travelling over like the Irish travelled for McGregor, like they did for Ricky Hatton? He's got that kind of working man, blue-collar feel about him. Do you know this guy is going to bring lots of people to America?
I don't know that, but I wanted to do this fight here. It's what I wanted. You ask any of my matchmakers, they'll tell you this is the fight that I wanted really bad. And, the atmosphere, nobody supports their people, man, like the English and the Irish. It's incredible. It's very cool to see. It's fun. I mean, the soccer game yesterday is for these two events back to back, and the amount of people, and it's so cool to come over here. We have a whole setup now at the UFC where I can run the shows right from the office. I'm like, fuck that shit. I'm going to England, man. I want to be there in Liverpool for this fight. I wasn't missing this for nothing.
Finally, you came to Liverpool. Are you going to come back here again?
Yes, we will be back to Liverpool again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hiya.
Hi.
Craig White took the co-main event slot on, I think it was 12 days' notice. Obviously, it didn't go his way, but what's his future in the UFC?
Yeah, I don't know. He took this fight on short notice. We'll definitely give him another opportunity. I love that. I love when guys step up like that, and we appreciate him. And he'll be back. Tonight, he's in his home country. It's tough enough getting those UFC jitters the first time. So let him shake them out and give him another opportunity to come in and perform again.
And Neil Magny says that he wants Kamaru Usman next. Is that a fight that interests you?
I am interested in that fight. And you know what? The thing is that Neil Magny is a great guy who always steps up and delivers, and we have a lot of respect for him. So we'll see. I don't know if Usman is going to be next, but we're going to give him something he wants. I get where he's going with that, so we'll get him going in the right direction.
We got UFC Hamburg scheduled on July. We got UFC Moscow for September. Are you planning to make a 5th UFC event in 2018?
That I don't know yet. We're going to get over there and do Moscow, see how it goes, and then go from there. I'm looking forward to that one too.
There was talk of you having a meeting with Conor McGregor in Liverpool. Was that supposed to take place at this event, or was that a behind closed doors event?
I thought that was going to be the first question I got when I walked in here. I'm proud of you guys.
Yeah. The slow build-up.
Yeah. Conor and I are going to meet in Vegas.
You're going to meet in Vegas?
Yeah.
And what is the situation with you two? Are you on good terms at the moment, or is that to be decided when you meet?
Yeah, I mean, he and I haven't seen each other since New York, so we haven't seen each other, we haven't talked, nothing, so we need to get together soon.
I mean, I've been hearing he's been in training. Are your thoughts right now on getting a fight booked with him before the year is over? Is that something that fans can expect?
It depends on what goes on with him in New York in June.
Okay. Cheers.
There are 4 Italians now in UFC, and
Hey.
and hi, there are 4 Italians now in UFC. Do you think that could be an event maybe next year in Italy?
In Italy?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you
4
know,
Italians now.
we're starting to get some Italian guys now, so Lorenzo Fertitta's probably happy. He's been waiting for that for 20 years. But yeah, I would love to do an event in Italy. Would love to. And to do these events in these different markets, you can go there without having, you know, people from that area. But man, it helps. It helps when you have some good fighters, some good talent from the area. And we're starting to get some guys. So yeah, cool.
First of all, Darren, thank you for bringing a great event over to the UK again.
Thank you.
Obviously, with the success of tonight, would you consider showing obviously different cities with someone like Tom Breeze being from Birmingham? Would you consider going to a city like that?
You got to slow down, my man.
Right,
Would I be interested in what? Something with Tom Breeze?
So you've got Tom Breeze, who's obviously from Birmingham.
Yeah,
Would you
look great. Look great tonight. It's good to have him back.
Would you consider going to Birmingham again?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
So, Dana, you said that a lot is to be decided of Conor's career depending on how things happen in June.
Well, we can't determine anything about what's next for him until June is cleared up.
If ideal scenario things go smoothly, everyone's talking about Khabib versus Conor. Would that, you know, like I said, fingers crossed, things go as planned. Is that a plan for you?
I'm pretty confident that that is the fight that Conor wants, and I'm pretty confident that that is the fight that Khabib wants. So, yeah, I could see that happening.
And got to ask as well, last time we saw Alexander Gustafsson, he looked phenomenal. There was the fight with Rockhold was supposed to be happening. That's off the table now, it seems. What do you see for the future for Gustafsson? He's so close, but not.
No, we have to get him another opponent. Yeah, we're going to keep him on that card and get him another opponent. Yeah, Rockhold screwed up his shin, so.
And, you know, just off the top of your head, who would that opponent be?
No clue. No clue right now.
Okay.
That's what I got to work on when I get home.
Okay, thank you.
Cool?
Dana,
Yeah.
right here in front of you. The ESPN deal. So if you had all the potential broadcast partners on the list, was ESPN and all their kind of platforms number one on that list for you?
Obviously, if you look at, you know, ESPN wouldn't cover us, you know, not too long ago, and now we're on ESPN. We're in business with Disney. It's probably the most monumental thing that has happened in the history of this company, in the history of the sport, for everyone. It's big. I don't care how you're involved in this sport, this deal that we just cut is big.
So we're going to get 42 events next year.
Right.
What about UFC Fight Pass? Will we see any events from the UFC on Fight Pass?
Yeah, you know, the ESPN deal is just in the United States.
Right.
So, yeah, Fight Pass is the rest of the world.
Right, okay. But will there be any kind of, I suppose, Fight Pass exclusive events? That's probably what I meant.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. And, you know, look, you know, it's been nice to get 2 events here in England this year.
I agree.
Both in London and in Liverpool.
Yep.
Moving forward, is that something that perhaps we can expect? You know, you've got, you know, Bisping still perhaps has one more fight left in him. Daren Till now is probably going to be the next big star to carry and be the face of the promotion here in the UK. What can, I suppose, fans and people expect for the UFC's plans specifically here in the UK?
Yeah, you know, this has always been a very important market to me. And since day one, this was one of the no-brainers for me. And the sport has grown incredibly here, and we have a lot of stars coming out of this place now. It's, you know, we're going to continue to do what we do.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Dana, you've been a big boxing guy for a long time now, and there are a lot of rumours going around that you've been in discussions with the likes of Mikey Garcia with the launch of Zuffa Boxing. Is there any truth to that? And how serious are you looking to become a promoter in the boxing game?
Yeah, no, that is true, and Mikey and I have got together a few times, and I like him a lot, and he likes us, and we'll see what happens. I have obviously been crazy busy on this television deal. We were the clock was ticking. We were down to like 7 months right now until we move from Fox to ESPN. So that thing was a huge priority. We had to get that thing done, and then that'll free up some time for me to focus on other stuff that I want to do.
Would that affect your status with the UFC? Because it seems like you're running on short time as it is. You can't
You got
fit
that
more,
right, brother.
You need to fit more hours in the day.
Oh, you're right. That is a great observation. No, so what would happen is, what I would do is I would get it going, and I would put somebody else in there to run it.
Was the rumours of you, because there were initial rumours of you going over to Cardiff for the Anthony Joshua Joseph Parker fight.
Yeah.
Over you discussing a deal with Eddie Hearn in some capacity.
Yeah.
How come that didn't happen?
What happened was the last couple months I've had some bad health issues with my ear.
Yeah.
So I was dealing with that. That's why I couldn't make the flight over to England that time. And I was talking to them, and then Eddie Hearn ended up landing that big TV deal, and
It seems like it's going to be the battle of the billionaires at the moment. 'Cause he's just struck $1 billion deal himself, hasn't he?
No, and that's great. It's great for the sport of boxing. It's great for him. I'm not looking to come in and steal anybody from. I'm another guy who can offer some money, and if anything, it's great for the boxers. And I'd said many times that I thought he was the most marketable guy in the world. Good-looking kid, big, strong guy, and Eddie Hearn handled his business and got him straight. So it's all good. I'm not out there trying to steal anybody from anybody.
And finally, as ever with the case of CM Punk, there is always controversy not far away from that conversation. Alistair Overeem has been demoted to the prelims of the Chicago card.
He was demoted. If that's the way you want to look at him being demoted, what is Rashad Evans? What is
No, I completely agree.
Pettis?
Completely agree.
I mean, there's guys on that could be on the main card that are on the Fight Pass prelims.
It just seemed that he was the most vocal about his disappointment in that case.
Hey, listen, when Alistair Overeem sells as many pay-per-views as CM Punk does, we can argue.
If CM Punk loses, it's game over, right? Surely.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Right here, Dana.
Hey.
Hey. Matt Spinell, he fought against Arden Allen and was pretty much ahead on points all up.
He was definitely
until
ahead
the
on
end.
points.
Yeah. What did you think about his performance?
It was great.
Yes.
Right up until he got choked.
So you look very good up until then, yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward, he's 1-2 in the UFC. Will he get another crack in the UFC, or is this it for him?
No, he looked good tonight. He got caught. It happens in this sport. He looked good.
Another question, Yair Rodriguez recently got cut from the UFC, and you talked about him refusing 2 fights. But can you elaborate a little more on the situation and why you decided to cut one of the prospects of the UFC?
Yeah, because we offered him fights. He turned down the fights. There was a lot more back and forth that went on with that. If you don't want to fight, this isn't the place to be. There's plenty of places out there that'll take Yair Rodriguez and would love to have him, and will sign him, and I'm sure he'll have a great career. This isn't the place for you.
Is the door open for him to come back maybe in the future?
I don't know. We'll see.
Thank you.
When I call you and offer you a fight, you should probably take it. You should probably take it. I make 42 fights a year. And if you don't want to fight and you want to be picky and choosy and you don't want to do this and you don't want to do that, then you probably need to go somewhere else. And I'll help you get there.
Dana, over here.
Yeah.
Over here.
Yep.
Hi. Danny, just going back to what you were saying about Anthony Joshua, how serious was the $500 million offer being rumoured at the time that you were willing to offer Anthony Joshua? Was that serious?
Was that what?
Was that a serious offer of $500 million?
I never made him an offer ever.
So where did the $500 million quote come from?
Thin air.
Okay.
That I never made him an offer ever. We were supposed to meet. We never met. We never talked money. We never did anything.
Are those sort of numbers that could have been used to prize Anthony Joshua away from Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, though?
If what? Say that again?
Are those the sort of numbers that it would have taken to take Anthony Joshua away from Matchroom and Eddie Hearn?
Oh, I don't know. That isn't even really the kind of deal I was looking to structure. Because when we talked, he had told me that he was going to stay with Eddie Hearn. He told me he was going to stay with Eddie. He was never going to get rid of Eddie. The deal is that I felt that we could add a lot of value to them in the United States. So we could cut some kind of a deal for the U.S. You know, he's big in England. Everybody knows who he is in England. And I have the machine to make him big in the United States. That was the plan.
With the deal Eddie Hearn has with DAZN, this $1 billion deal, is it something that you'll look to perhaps work with Eddie with?
Yeah, listen, I've worked with Heyman. There's a lot of guys that I would love to work with in the boxing business. Bob Arum isn't one of them, but there's a lot of other guys out there that I would. Yeah.
This is the last couple questions over there.
Can I get it?
Cheers.
Dana, obviously Daren Till is the guy who's going to grab all the headlines this weekend. But it was a bit of a tricky weekend for him with the weight cut issues and all the things that happened leading into the fight. Talk to us about Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and how he conducted himself during that process and your dealings with him and his camp during that tricky spell. Because he could have been quite within his rights to have said, do you know what, I'm not going to take this fight now.
Absolutely. He absolutely could have. And him, his father, his camp, all absolute professionals, and I have nothing but respect for them. They, believe me, there's plenty of guys on this roster that would have bailed on that fight, and I have a ton of respect for him, and obviously we'll do everything we can to give him what he wants and in his next fight.
What do you think might, obviously without naming names, because you don't do that in press conferences, but he fought, he's number one contender, fought a guy lower in the rankings than him, and has lost a decision. There's an interim title fight doing the rounds. There's obviously Tyron as a world champion. What do you think the next logical move is for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson now after today?
There's still a lot of guys in that division that we'll see where he ends up in the rankings, but there's still a ton of guys for him to fight in there. And he lost twice to the champ. So he's it's one of those situations where he got to take on all comers. He doesn't have a title shot lined up anytime soon. And but now that he's fought this fight, he could fight another one of these guys and get right back to the top again immediately. He's talented enough.
And one more from me. You've got an active champion in Tyron Woodley who's looking to come back. You've got an interim title fight in the makings that's coming up soon. Is the plan to convert that interim title into a unified title, or are you going to give that a bit of a life of itself as well and try and perhaps look at Darren as a potential interim champion and stick him in there with the winner of that fight?
I honestly don't know right now. Right now, get home, play out the rest of this month, see what happens in these fights that are coming up, and then we'll figure out what's next for Till and for Wonderboy. Cool?
Just one last one from me. Down at the front here, Dana. To your right.
Hey.
Have you spoken to Darren or Stephen since the fight? I'm wondering if they talked to you about the decision at all, or what do you plan to say to Darren? Because obviously he's had a hell of a week.
No, not yet. I haven't. I just saw Till out there doing his interviews, and I congratulated him, but I haven't seen Wonderboy yet. And I'm sure because there's so much controversy over the decision both ways. I'm sure I can assume what side they're feeling right now. He got the hometown decision, but there were a messed up decisions on this card tonight. I mean, some of the scores on some of these fights were absolutely ridiculous. So I have to have Ratner take a look at that when we get back to Vegas, some of these scores tonight. But I honestly, I always tell you guys the truth, good or bad, and it always gets me in shit with the fighters, but at the end of the fight, I honestly didn't know. I was like, I don't know, man, this fight can go either way. All the rounds were so close, and when your style is counterpunching, and both guys were sort of counterpunching, but Till did keep moving forward the entire fight and was pressing the action, and there's so many different things, and people judge in different ways. So it's a tough fight to score.
Dana, Roy over here.
Hey, buddy.
Recent development that happened in the MMA world was Chuck Liddell announcing that he's coming out of retirement and possibly working with Oscar De La Hoya.
Right.
I know initially you weren't the biggest fan of such a pairing happening. What's your thoughts now that Chuck has officially announced that he's coming out of retirement?
Well, I said this before. I hope he's coming out of retirement to be partners with De La Hoya and not to fight. I hope he doesn't fight.
And perhaps do you think that Oscar is, what's the word I'm looking for, just taking advantage of Chuck and using him as a big name to make headway into the MMA world?
I don't know if De La Hoya is that smart. Yeah. He isn't the brightest bulb on the porch.
Okay.
Oscar De La Aram is not that bright, but I don't know what he's thinking. Hopefully, Chuck's going to be his business partner and not fight. I don't. Last thing I want to do is shit on Chuck Liddell because I love him, And but I asked him to retire 10 years ago for a reason.
And final one from me. You said that you want to take Daren Till stateside next to Vegas. Any time frame for that off the top of the head, or?
No. I mean, the kid just fought, so I got to figure out what's next and where and all that stuff. But yeah, I'd like to bring him to Vegas for his next fight.
Perhaps the end of year card, maybe? Or?
Maybe.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. Thanks, guys. And let me say this, too. Thanks to the fans here. Highest grossing gate in the arena's history. I love coming out here. The energy is unbelievable, and nobody supports their people like you guys do. It's amazing. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.